They just ran the squad officers down at our open danger. We're going westbound, and he's going into the ditch.
Hey, 48, send medic to the intersection here. We got an officer down. Bad guy's out on foot, crashing into the tree.
The scanner call tells the story. A self-proclaimed meth addict leads police on a high-speed chase. Not behind the wheel of a car, he dumped that, exchanging it for a stolen garbage truck. A small-town police chief determined to stop this dangerous driver. The dramatic chase ending in Buffalo, Iowa, after crushing the squad car. The chief himself, laying out stop sticks, becomes the victim.
638, notify whatever fire is coming that we have a tourniquet applied.
TJ down on that call because, they don't give names over the radio. And I said, TJ is the call. And she's like, oh my gosh.
But this isn't the story of the 20-year-old driver now in prison, or the 101 lives changed forever on that fall day on a quiet highway. It's a story of one family changed forever on that fateful day, but not in ways you may think. It's a story of giving thanks. How can someone be thankful after all this pain and misery? You're about to find out as we take you to the heart of the story. September 2017, T.J. Behning went off to work at his job as Buffalo, Iowa police chief. His wife Heidi went to work at hers, their daily routine. But this day would be anything but routine.
All units that are going advised.
102, southbound in the alley, west of Hazelwood. He's 1050, he's in the ditch, he rear-ended a car out here.
The call, the chase, the collision between the stolen garbage truck and the police cruiser with the chief trying to lay down stop sticks to end this pursuit.
They just ran the squad officers down at our open danger. We're going westbound, and he's going into the ditch.
The next call would change everything.
Hey, 48, send medic to the intersection here. We got an officer down. Bad guy's out on foot, crashing into the tree.
So it's been 2 years now.
Correct.
Do you remember that day, that phone call you got?
Absolutely. I was sitting here at work. It was about 11:45 in the morning, and my cell phone rang, and it said TJ's cell. And I thought to myself, that's odd. TJ usually doesn't call me at that time. So I picked up the phone, and it was TJ's cousin, Greg, on the other end of the line.
And did he brace you for what was to come next?
He said, hi Heidi, it's Greg Behning. And I said, hi Greg, how are you? And then I thought, oh my gosh, what's the matter? I knew by the tone of his voice. I knew because it was him calling, I knew something was pretty bad.
First responders from all over the area converge on the scene. While they fight to save his life, somehow, perhaps adrenaline, the chief fights to thank them. Heidi has no idea what he's going through. She feels so helpless at first.
Is he alive? Is he alive? Is he okay? And then Greg said, TJ's been in an accident. It's bad. I don't know what's going to happen or where he's going to go, but stay by your phone and I'm going to be in contact. And then he hung up.
You're sitting there thinking,
yeah,
what do I do?
Right. And our nurse was by me and she's like, because I just sat down. I just hung up the phone and sat down and she said, are you okay? I go, yeah, I am. TJ's been in an accident. She's like, well, what are you doing? Go. And I'm like, I don't know where.
She calls medics searching for answers, but he wasn't on an ambulance. Next call, MedForce. Her friend Melissa works there.
And I said, Melissa, it's Heidi. Are you guys down in Buffalo? She goes, oh my gosh, it's so hot out. Is TJ down on that call? Because, they don't give names over the radio. And I said, TJ is the call. And she's like, oh my gosh. She goes, my stomach just hit the ground. I'm so sorry. And I said, all I need to know is, because I know trauma flies to either Peoria or Iowa City. I said, are you guys flying to Iowa City? And when are you going? And she goes, let me look. And she goes, the bird is set to take off in 14 minutes. And I said, okay, I'll meet him there.
She heads for the University of Iowa Hospital, about an hour away, when Greg calls again. She has one question. Can he talk? Then her fear turns to something else.
I kind of went into, I think, mom mode at that point. You know, then I could be like, okay, I know I can get him through anything physically. I just needed him mentally to be able to talk to me, to be able to understand what I was saying. And so I didn't call our girls until we got up to Iowa City. I wanted to see firsthand, and they were waiting for me. The Iowa City police were waiting when I got into the emergency room, when I walked through the doors. So I took a look at him. You know, he said, shouldn't you be at work? And so that made me feel better. But it definitely looked like a scene you would see on a medical drama, for sure. I mean, just pieces of flesh everywhere and, you know, blood everywhere and, you know, a big cut on his head and doctors and nurses. I mean, everyone just running in and starting lines on him. And I mean, it was definitely a lot to see at the beginning.
So it sounds like you braced yourself from the beginning and found that internal strength very early in the process because you knew that he and the family would need you to be strong right there.
For sure. And I can remember the nicest deputy, this big, huge, burly deputy, because a ton of law enforcement came up shortly after. And he was standing in the corner and he was a mess. He was just a puddle. And I can remember looking at him and saying, with all due respect, you have to get it together. I said, my girls are gonna walk in here and they're gonna be as scared as us adults are. And I need them to look to us and know that it's all gonna be okay. So I'm sorry, but if you can't get it together, can you step out? And he goes, I absolutely will. I was like, okay, thanks. So yeah, I needed them to know, no matter what, he's here. Like, no matter what happens, if he loses both legs, I mean, I just needed him to know, hey, we'll make it. You're gonna be okay.
Where do you get that strength? Where does that come from in your life?
My mom was sick most of my life. She had a liver transplant in 1994. She passed away when she was 59, and we had gone through all that. We're a really close family. And I think just losing her at such a young age, and you know, she always looked on the positive side of things. She was always so strong for us, and I knew I had to be strong for them.
But she has no idea how strong her family would have to be and for how long. The rush is on to save his legs. While waiting for a specialty surgeon, she grows concerned. He may lose his life waiting.
I pulled the sheet back and that leg had started bleeding a lot again. I mean, it was just pouring blood again. And you could see his color visibly changing. He was getting diaphoretic, just, you know, not a good look. Clammy and, you know, yucky looking on his face. And I got the trauma nurse and I was like, I think this is going bad. I think we need to get him somewhere quick. And then people started moving. I mean, they took him straight up into the OR then because we were definitely starting to lose him.
His daughters get to see him before surgery. His response to them.
And he's like, hey girl, how was your day? You know what I mean? Typical dad, you know what I mean? TJ worries about everybody else. But they were good. And I just looked at them and said, look at all these people here. Look at all of this. This is all for your dad. We're gonna do this.
And they will not do this alone. A community behind them, from near and far.
You had that sense of community at the hospital with all those people gathered around.
Yeah.
But then you soon discover the community outpouring of support. What was that like for you?
Indescribable. I mean, it really was. So in the burn trauma unit in Iowa City, it's, you know, for the really, really sick, and that's where we were. And they usually don't see that kind of support. I mean, they don't have a lot of law enforcement up there. The next morning, 10 officers walked in, and 10 uniformed officers and I had never seen them, and they walked in. It was like 6 o'clock in the morning, and I said, you know, hi, can I help you guys? And they're like, we're from all over the state of Iowa. We gathered down in the lobby just to come in and show support. And I remember thinking like, wow, it's pretty cool because, you know, we had so many people up there the day before, but they were all people who were on that chase with them, on the pursuit with TJ. So I thought, okay, yeah, they would probably come up. The sheriff came up, the chief, you know, I mean, from Davenport, all those guys came up, but I didn't know. I mean, everyone said law enforcement was a family of its own. I had no idea what that meant. But when those 10 officers walked in just to shake his hand and say thank you for your service, I mean, every person that came in, every officer that came in, I just cried more. I mean, I was just in shock. Hertz Donuts, they sent all these thin blue line donuts, and I was like, how did they even know so quick? How did they even get those donuts made in here so quick? You know what I mean? That was the next morning. Companies from all over, from day one, you know, the Canadian Pacific Railroad sent a plant. I didn't even know you could send a plant that quick to someone. You know, I mean, it was amazing, and it was from everywhere, and I don't even think we really grasped how big it was here.
Here, where generations find ways to show their support in Iowa City, and at home, where their youngest daughter, Carly, sees the generosity of so many as she came to the hospital to show her dad her homecoming dress.
She was like, oh, I came home today and there were more gift cards in our mailbox, or there was a plate of cookies on our doorstep, or, you know, someone brought me dinner today or gave me a gift card to Olive Garden in case I got hungry. And I'm like, oh, you know, neighbors, people we didn't know, people from Buffalo, you know, just family, friends. It was incredible. It really was.
Soon, the long, painful road to recovery begins. After 1 month, now late October, an attempt to put weight on his leg in the hospital. He cannot stand. Days later, healing will continue at home. November 1st, the first night home.
I remember the therapist saying, let's stand 2 seconds. 2 seconds today. You can do it. 2 seconds. You know, and he would stand 2 seconds, and then it was, let's stand a minute. And me and the girls would stand there. We would cheer, and we would, Dad, you got this. Come on, you got this. 1 minute. And then it was, oh my gosh, he stood 5 minutes, and I'd send it out to our whole family, you know, like, TJ stood 5 minutes today, and they'd all cheer, you know. And then on the tougher days, you know, I'd bring my brothers in. They're coaches, and so they're great inspirations, and they would be like, you got this. Today's the day, 10 minutes, you can do this.
Then, late November, 2 months into recovery, this happens.
Good job, Chief.
A strength, a defining moment. He's back on his feet. His family is back on their feet. By the 1 year mark, they have learned so much about themselves and the place they call home.
I think like with any major event or a death or whatever, you know, I mean, you're shocked at how much time has gone by and how much you've been through, and how did we even get through that? I mean, how did we come out of that and go, oh my gosh, we actually came out of it better people than even we went into it.
Enjoying the once simple stuff. Moments like this. He likely will always be in pain because of nerve damage. His therapy continues now, including treatment to his shoulders, injured trying to shield himself. He's working hard with another big goal ahead.
How bad, on a scale of 1 to 10, does he want to go back to work?
12. He wants it. He wants to go back. Like he said, I will never complain about going to work again. I'll never complain about having to go to the gym again. You know, I mean, he's like, he has 8 years left, 9 years left, and he's like, I don't want that taken away from me. It's all I know. It's what I love. I want to go back.
How much does it mean to you for him to go back to work?
I want him to go back. I don't want that taken from him, but I also need him to be safe.
A family, a community, right there, every day, every step.
The whole community, all over, wrap their arms around us. And I would say in these 2 years, honestly, we have never felt alone in this, ever. I mean, it's all the likes on Facebook, all the comments, all the cheering us on from afar, you know, going through the trial. I mean, they were there every step of the way. Everyone was. I mean, there are truly no words that would describe the gratitude we have, but I know we will forever live our lives trying to pay that forward.
Now, to hear the complete unedited interview, check out the Heart of the Story podcast. A New Beginning, the Chief Behning story. This is the Heart of the Story with Gary Metivier. Hey, help us share more inspiring stories. Click on that photo of me and subscribe. Leave a comment. Tell a friend. More cool stories coming. The Heart of the Story with Gary Metivier.